Okay, Sarah, well, could you give me your name and what brings you to the conference?
I'm Sarah Phillimore. I'm a family law barrister and a member of Fair Cop since 2019, and I'm a child protection lawyer, so I'm very, very interested in the impact of all of this on children.
Yes, I noticed yesterday, I was noticing some of the language was talking about young people, and you were very clear it was about children. So do you want to say a little bit about what you came to talk about specifically?
Well, I came to talk about how, very sadly, the courts have been captured. And I was going to present this kind of optimistic, we're back on the right track speech. But it's very interesting listening to Bev Jackson of the LGB Alliance and just how angry she was. I've never seen her that angry before. And it kind of jolted me out of a bit of complacency. Just because things are now getting better in the family courts doesn't mean that for almost a decade, they were very, very bad indeed. And that means potentially thousands of children have been subjected to irreversible medical and surgical interventions. One case, which is particularly worrying, was a 15-year-old girl sent out of the country to have her breasts removed.
Right. So where do you feel we need to focus, or where do you feel, what have you got from coming to the conference in terms of going forward? Or
Well, it's been very interesting. I've learned a lot. It's been very inspirational, but it's also been very frightening, because I think it's one of the speakers, Matthias from Belgium, made that brilliant distinction between dictatorship and the totalitarian state, which I think I always knew but hadn't articulated before. A dictatorship rules by fear, but people can still think. A totalitarian state rules by brainwashing, to the extent, as he outlined, that parents and children will turn each other in to the state. And that, I'm very much afraid, is what's going on here. People believe, they think they are right, so they are impervious to argument. And I think that's why lawfare hasn't worked quite as well as I hoped. Although it was essential to establish the victories that we did, we've still got political parties, for example, expelling people left, right and centre, despite losing in the courts, despite being hammered with six-figure cost bills. So that does worry me, and it's good that the problem is identified. Now that I'm very clear in my own mind that what we're dealing with is totalitarian brainwashing, then that's where the efforts need to focus. I thought, a few good court wins would sort this out. It hasn't. But you've got to know, it's better to know, and then we can focus our efforts more appropriately. But I'm really glad to say I think the child protection system has woken up and got back on track. And of course, we have to thank for that the Cass Review, and of course Marcus and Sue Evans and Professor Bell, Kira Bell, all those who brought Bell and Tavistock to the courts. Because I think if I was to pick one seismic moment that blew the doors off this whole thing, it was that case.
And that's interesting, because I think what he said about the authoritarian was don't go underground. And something about the court cases maybe helping as a platform, but we'd have to keep speaking and fighting a lot more. Would you say that's right?
Oh, well, the court cases were essential. I wasn't joking when I said without Harry Miller and Maya Forstater, if this conference was being held in England and those court cases had not been won, we would all risk arrest, because we would have no protections in law for what we were saying. But now we've established in law that what we're saying is protected. It is lawful political speech. It has the highest degree of protection under Article 10. So that was essential. So now we've got this platform. You're right, we've got to use it. We've been given a voice, so let's speak. There is no excuse now, I think, for people remaining silent. People have done all the hard work. The accusations of bigotry and hate have largely lost their currency. I've been repeatedly investigated and I've come out unscathed. We are winning that battle, but the time now is to speak, and to do it with courtesy, integrity and honesty, not to fall into that trap as becoming as abusive and as unreasoned as the other side.
Thank you. That's great. Thank you very much. That's brilliant.